Can you please confirm whether my presentation is visible? Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So, the privacy paradox. Your lives, their algorithms. That's where we are today. And I'm really excited to see these many number of nominations for this particular topic, because I thought that it's a little technical, but of course, related to our lives, day-to-day lives. So I'm sure all of us are going to enjoy this particular conversation that we are going to have. So before we get started, just a brief about the college, and then we'll go ahead with the presentation. A lot of you would have attended a few of our webinars or some of the courses that we have conducted at the College of Agricultural Banking, but I'm sure a majority of you wouldn't have ever had the opportunity to interact with the CAB, the College of Agricultural Banking. We are a Reserve Bank of India established institution and more than 55 years old. And originally we started off as a cooperative bankers training college, and then later on the focus shifted, keeping in view the requirements and the needs of the financial sectors of the country. So we expanded, and then in the 5 years hence from the setting up, the name of the college was made to be College of Agricultural Banking, CAB, and most of you know us as CAB Pune. Post-COVID, we kind of reinvented ourselves, because pre-COVID, our existence was purely in-person, in-campus programs. But post-COVID, as a lot of us have learned, CAB also learned that it is impossible to continue in the current day and age without having an online presence. So we started having online programs, and the focus areas of the college were also made little different from what they were earlier. Although we are continuing with what we had started with, but we have added certain more areas. So as of now, today we have got 4 channels in the college. The channel which is conducting this particular training program, this particular webinar, the Information Technology and Payment Systems channel. They conduct programs on cyber and IT security, information systems audit, payment systems, and fintech. So these are the areas in which the ITPS channel conducts their programs. The Agriculture, MSME, and Inclusive Finance channel, as the name itself suggests, they focus more on rural economy, the agricultural sector, MSMEs. But of late, there has been a renewed focus on climate finance, renewable energy, and sustainable finance. And also, they have started with a special mission on consumer protection related training programs. The Management, Regulation, and Supervision channel, they look after the corporate governance related programs, the compliance and assurance function related programs, as also risk management programs. So that is what they conduct for different entities. And the Human Resources and Leadership, they conduct leadership development programs, management development programs, team building, communication, stress management, and nowadays very much in demand, emotional intelligence related programs. So these are the kind of programs that we conduct, and we conduct programs not just for Reserve Bank of India or for banks. Banks, that means all kinds of banks working in the country. It may be commercial bank, it may be payment bank, it may be small finance banks, it may be urban cooperative banks or rural cooperative banks. We also conduct programs for non-bank finance companies, and a lot of them have shown a lot of interest in the recent past to attend our programs, both in person and online. So these are the kind of programs that we have been conducting in the last few years, and the number of programs conducted every year has grown because of the demand from the industry. And on top of it, we also conduct customized programs based on the needs and the requirements and requests that we receive from respective entities. We conduct programs either at CAB or at their sites that we extend support in terms of capacity building to the Indian financial sector. We also engage and collaborate with domestic and international institutions like Indian Institute of Banking Management, National Institute of Bank Management, the ISACA, National Federation of Urban Cooperative Banks, National Council of Financial Education, and certain. On the international front, we have a great collaboration with Africa, and this year we are going to conduct in-person programs for foreign participants from this year onwards, and Rabobank, UNDP, and we also conduct programs for other central bank officers. So this is in brief about the college, the functioning that we do. And just a brief about myself. I'm Anand Upadhyay, General Manager with Reserve Bank of India, and currently the Vice Principal of College of Agricultural Banking. And I've been in the banking industry for almost 3 decades. Prior to joining Reserve Bank of India, I have worked with 2 commercial banks, and within Reserve Bank of India, I've worked in almost all areas of Reserve Bank of India: currency management, supervision of banks, non-bank finance companies, uh, financial inclusion, rural credit and development, treasury, information technology, wherein I have headed a data center of Reserve Bank of India, and of course capacity building. I've been here at CAB for the last 4 years, and prior to assuming charge as vice principal at CAB, I was the channel coordinator of the human resource and leadership channel, and the information technology and payment systems channel we started in 2021, which I headed for 2 years. So this is in brief about myself. Let's get started. Before I get started, a few things I would like to share with you, because a few of you would have been have attended a few of my webinars or sessions, earlier online sessions, but for others, a few important inputs I'd like to share with you. The first one, for the next 90 minutes or so, I'd like to finish it within 90 minutes. But in case the discussion goes on longer, please bear it with me, because the topic is a very elaborate one. But whatever I'm going to speak are purely my views. They represent me. They do not represent the views of the college or the Reserve Bank of India. They are purely my views. And based on the information that I have gathered, based on the studies that I have done, and based on the literature that I have laid my hands on, that is what I'm going to tell you. So if there is any challenge or any litigation, it should be targeted towards me. Otherwise, Reserve Bank of India and CAB are not responsible for what I'm going to deliver today. Moving ahead, sharing is caring. The first part, because a lot of participants during the course of the presentation, they ask this question that will you be sharing this presentation with us? So the answer is an emphatic yes. But like life, there is a catch. I'll tell you the catch towards the later part of the program. So I'll be sharing the presentation with all of you, that's for sure. Staying connected. So as you would have already noticed that all of you are muted, for the very simple reason the number of participants is huge. And if we permit the participants to unmute themselves and speak, it will be absolute chaos and we won't be able to function at all. So if at all there are any queries, please post them on the chat box. And I'll say that if I have got the time and the bandwidth towards the end of the program, I'll be responding to them. But rest assured, whatever I'm going to tell you is going to be very plain and simple in layman language. So the comprehension part will be very easy. If at all any questions remain, I'll be more than happy to take them towards the end of the session. Apart from that, that was pertaining to your questions. But there are going to be a lot of questions from my side. So I would definitely request you to respond to those questions. Are we okay with that? Because I'm going to ask a lot of questions and I would like you to respond. Because from that point of view, I'll come to know that you are connected. Because as of now, what I'm looking at is just this screen. I'm not able to look at any of the participants or any of the responses. So that probably Nivedita and Rohit will take care. They're helping me with this particular webinar. And last but not the least, help others stay connected. Because we are connected online, there may be network issues, maybe at my end, maybe at your end. So if one of the participants or few of the participants, they mention that the voice is not audible, or the video is not visible, or the presentation is not visible, and if you as a participant are able to hear me, are able to look at the presentation, please respond to those participants, because I cannot respond to each and every participant during the course of the webinar. So please help others stay connected. So that is my request to all of you. Let's get started. And the questions that I'm going to ask, one small request to all of you, please do not respond to the questions using Google or technology. Okay, just respond to the questions as they come to you naturally. I want your own cognitive capacities to come to the fore. Whatever questions I'm going to ask you, please respond to them. So the first question comes to your screen now, and this is one of the questions which I asked in all my presentations. Who's this guy on the screen? The person whom you see on the screen, I would like to know who's this person. Aristotle, Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, wonderful. Socrates. Okay. So as of now, 2 people are running higher. Tolstoy, wonderful. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Galileo, Plato. Yeah. Okay. Pythagoras, anyone? No. Ernst Hemingway. Okay. So since we belong to a democratic country, we'll take this as Socrates because the majority of the participants have responded and Socrates. And the best part is Socrates has never seen us. We have not seen Socrates. So we put this picture on the screen. You just put the Google lens and Google will tell you that this is Socrates. And why the picture of Socrates? Very simple. Because Socrates has said so many wonderful quotes, so many wonderful learnings he has given. But the one which I like in context of webinars and in terms of most of the sessions that I take is that I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think. This is what Socrates had said, and I completely agree with him. I'm not here to teach you anything in this particular webinar. All I want you to think is to think, just to change your perspective, the way your thought process is. That is what my aim is in this particular webinar. So that is what we are going to look at in this webinar. And another philosopher from the same school of thought, Seneca, he said that anything well said by anybody is mine. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to use a lot of data, a lot of quotations, a lot of input from so many learned academicians, philosophers, which I'm going to present to you in this webinar. So a bit of it may be original, but a majority is from various sources. And given the limitation of time, I may not be able to attribute it. Probably in the presentation that I share, I'll put the attributes. So with that, let's get started. This is the world that we are living in. The day and age, today's day and age. I'm sitting here in Pune, and all of you are sitting across various parts of the country and some beyond India also. All of you are sitting there, and we are talking to each other as if we are in the same room. We are interacting as good as that. So the cliche, a commonly used one, is geography has become history. It does not matter where you are, as long as you can connect with the other person almost at the same ease. But for the touch part or the smell part, rest everything can be done online. So this is the world that we are living in. So currently the population of the world is 8.2 billion. 8.2 billion people are there in the world. What's your guess? What may be the number of people who may be using internet out of these 8.2 billion people? What may be the number of people who may be using internet? 70%, 2 billion, 5 billion, 7 billion, 80 crores, okay, 7 billion, 90%, okay, 6 billion, 5 billion, okay, more or less we are there. Most of you are there. So the closest answer is almost 67.4%. That is 5.56 billion people across the world are using 5.56 billion. So in terms of crore, 556 crore people are using the internet across the world. So out of 8.2 billion, almost 3/4 of our population, human population, is on the internet. So that's one part. But I'll just pose another question to you. Any guess how many number of devices may be connected to the internet? We are in the year of 2025. What may be the number? So 5.56 billion people connected to the internet. How many devices may be connected to the internet? So 25 billion, okay, 9 billion, 5 times 15 billions, okay, 10 billion, 16 billion, okay. So Radha Kumari madam has given 60 billion, okay, 50 billion, okay. So just to give you, by the end of this year, we are going to touch 75 billion devices. 75 billion devices are going to be connected towards the end of this year to the internet. So this is the world that we are living in. Today's day and age, this is the world that we are living in. So 5.56 billion people connected, 75 billion devices connected. Just let us have a glimpse as to what happens in 1 minute over the internet. What happens in 1 minute? Just 1 minute. What happens? 65,000 photos posted on internet, in Instagram, Facebook, 240,000 posts. YouTube, 500 hours of video posted every minute. TikTok, 167 million videos being watched. LinkedIn, surprisingly, a lot of us here, 10,000 jobs are applied for every minute, And Twitter, or now called as X, 350,000, 350,000 tweets every minute. Emails, not just personal email, corporate emails, 231 million emails every minute. WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger, 69 million messages. And we say, who's using SMS nowadays? 21.6 million text messages every minute globally. That is what the quantum. So this is every minute. Let us look at what happens in a day. What happens in a day on the internet? Notifications. On an average, 100 to 150 notifications per user. And I'm not talking about users like you and me, because most of us are smartphone. There are people who don't use smartphones, but averaging out, that is coming to 100 to 150 notifications. So 10 billion notifications globally. Emails, 347 billion email sent on a daily basis. 5 million tweets, 350 million photos, 720,000 hours of videos uploaded daily, and a billion videos watched on TikTok and other platforms. Look at the quantum of data. Look at the quantum of data, and you'll be amazed. 328 million terabytes of data generated on a daily basis. This is the day and age we are living in. This is the quantum of data that we are generating. This is the quantum of data we are consuming on a daily basis. So this is your digital life. This is your digital life. Although this sentence may seem to be a very innocuous one to you, but this is a very serious sentence. Not in terms of philosophy or lifestyle, purely in terms of the context of this webinar. Any idea? Specifically these 5 words. This is your digital life. Anybody has got any idea why I am referring to this particular sentence, these 5 words? It is a very important. These 5 words represent a very important aspect to the topic that we are going to talk today, about privacy, about our lives and how algorithms are shaping our lives. Any guesses? Without using Google, of course. Do not use technology. Okay, people see us as data, privacy, others. Okay, okay. Excellent, excellent. So let me tell you, this is the name of an app. This is the name of an app. This app was created by Alexander Kogan. Alexander Kogan, he created this app in the year 2018. And the moment I tell you which company he was working for, you'll immediately recollect. So this app was created and it was sent to so many users by one particular company, which was a politically consultancy firm, and they sent this to certain number of people, say 270,000 people. They sent this app, who actually installed this app just to monitor their digital life. They were given some incentives and all. The name of the company was Cambridge Analytica. Now it will immediately ring a bell to all of you. So this was the name of the app. 270,000 people installed this app on their phones. But this app had got multiple APIs, application programming interfaces, which started talking to other apps installed on their phone, specifically Facebook. And because of the lax API regulations and controls on Facebook at that point in time, 2018, this particular app was able to get data for 87 million users. Look at the number, the proliferation. Only 270,000 users had put it on their cell phones, and the data which this app could gather was for 87 million users. And it was told that this particular data and behavioral analytics, they did psychological profiling and then voter behavioral analysis and prediction towards 2 major events. One is the US presidential election, the other was the Brexit referendum. Before litigation came, and then this particular app was halted. Cambridge Analytica was under the scanner for a long time. A lot of courts across the world had brought it to litigation, and still a few litigations are going on. So this is your digital life. This app, just 270,000 people installed in their phone and resulted in data being given for 87 million users. So my question to you, how important is privacy to you? How important is privacy to you as an individual? I'm not talking in terms of a corporate or a financial institution. How important is privacy to you? Okay, everybody says it's crucial, very much important, very important. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really love the answer. So here's the next question for you, which will tell you how important is privacy for you. When was the last time you read a privacy policy before clicking I agree? Four options: always, only for banking apps, never, who has the time, and what's a privacy policy? D. So major so good, good, good. There are few people who have told D also. A majority have told C, never, who has the time, because when we want to use an app, we want to use an app. We don't have the patience. We don't have the patience. And there are people who have said always. A lot of people have said always. Huh? A lot of people, if you look at the chat box, a lot of people have said always. Cambridge University in the year 2012, 13 years back, they did a privacy a study on this, the cost of reading privacy policy. And that time they discovered that if a person wanted to read all the privacy policies in totality, at that point in time, I'm talking about 13 years back, it would take 76 full days, 24 hours by 7. If he would read, it would take him 76 days to read that data. By now, it would be more than a year if you want to read the complete privacy policy of each and every app, each and every website that you are going to sign up for. So practically it's impossible. Practically it's impossible because across the world, only 0.09% people actually take the pain to read the privacy policy. So no worries, absolutely. Most of us are in the majority. Towards the course of this particular presentation, we'll see what else can we do about it other than wasting one full year reading privacy policies. So before that, my question to you, like, why are we talking about privacy at all? All of you said it's very important, but those of you who said never are they, who said that what's a privacy policy? Edward Snowden says that if you say that you are not concerned about privacy because you have got nothing to hide, it's like you are not worried about free speech because you have got nothing to say. It's as simple as that. So from that point of view, it's important to understand what privacy is, because I'm not talking in terms of just information privacy. What is privacy? Privacy is the right to control access to one's personal information, body, and choices without unwarranted intrusion. And remember, each and every word is very important. Whom we want to share our information with, and to what extent do we want to share our information with, that is the sum and substance of privacy. So when we talk in terms of privacy, broadly four categorizations: physical privacy, informational privacy, psychological privacy, and decisional privacy. Physical in terms of the spatial part of it, presence. So informational privacy, what kind of information about me is available to what kind of people? Psychological, and this is one of the most difficult ones, which we are going to talk about in great detail towards the later part of this webinar, as to what goes on inside and what is my decision making pattern, on what information, on what hunches, on what gut feeling do I make decisions. So these are the parts which we would not like others to be privy to. This is very, very important. So when I asked you a question, how important is privacy to you, a lot of you told it's very important, very much important, it's crucial. Let's try to understand why it is crucial for all of us, why privacy is so important for us. In terms of just sheer evolution, our first and foremost instinct as human beings, or for that matter any species, is that we need to preserve ourselves. Self-preservation is the most important instinct in all species. So is with us. So the biological need for boundaries is very much important. So if there are offices which are very cluttered, in which there is hardly any spatial privacy, productivity takes a hit because people are not feeling safe enough. They are not feeling private enough. In terms of trust, the foundation of trust, when I give you some information in confidence, I expect you to keep that information with you, not to share it with others. It's the foundation of trust. That is the value of privacy. Freedom from judgment. There may be n number of things that I may have thought, or I may have done some kacha work, rough work on that. I don't want to be judged on the basis of that. What is going on in my mind? What are the raw thoughts that are going on in my mind? I do not want to be judged for that. The historical example here is Galileo. When he expressed his thoughts and it was contrarian to the general belief, he was executed in public. And if you have got more information about me than I have got about you, obviously you are, because nowadays information is power. The power imbalance goes a little tilted. And in terms of democracies, the anonymity of the voters, the whistleblowers, the free speech, this is the part which is the benchmark, the bedrock of democracy. This is the lifeline of democracy. So that is why privacy is very, very important. And most importantly, in terms of mental well-being, privacy is very, very important. What people know about me, what I want to project myself as, if they are different, then I may be really paranoid, I may be anxious. There is an effect called pantopian effect, in which people start becoming too much self-aware, self-critical. And one of the major segments is the Gen Zs, the youngest ones nowadays, the Gen Zs. 64% of them are anxious about social media privacy. So that is the level of the value of privacy that we have attributed to us. So there's no doubt and there is no question when I ask the query to all of you as to how much do you value privacy. Most of you agree on the part that although there may be no skeletons in your cupboard, you may have nothing to hide, but would you like each and every one, every Tom, Dick, and Harry to have information about you? No, absolutely not. So this is the value of privacy in our lives. The internet is a double-edged sword. It connects us, but also exposes us in ways we never imagined. So, the birthday of internet, 1983, 1st of January. Tim Berners-Lee is the founder, one of the founders of internet, and he said very simply that it's a double-edged sword. It connects us to across, like we are connected through the internet, but the exposure is also in ways which we have not imagined. And this is way back he spoken. This sentence was almost 20 years back. Nowadays, it is getting truer day by day. We have not imagined what kind of information is getting exposed about us. So let's come to the question in hand right now. Your smart speaker records conversations when? A, only when you say the wake word, during accidental triggers, randomly for quality improvement, or all of the above? What's your answer? Fantastic, fantastic. So all of you are aware that the Alexa or the Siri or the Google Assistant, which is sitting here, there, or somewhere around you, they do not actually need a trigger. They are listening to you all the time. They are listening to you all the time. And what happens is that what you are speaking and what your family members are speaking, what your colleagues are speaking, what your neighbors are speaking, almost each and every conversation is being heard, and a lot is being recorded and analyzed. So this is the level that we are looking at. When I told you there are 5.56 billion people, but 75 billion devices. So this is what we are looking at, that we are leaving a digital footprint whenever you are using the internet. So one small question before I move to the important aspect of digital footprint. When are you not on the internet? So there are people who have told, Rajiv Ghosh says, once you are dead. Absolutely, sir. Uh, just Google Galileo, just Google Plato, Socrates. The internet was not even there when they were there, but they are there on the internet. Okay, so the point is, you may have switched off the data of your phone, but that does not prevent you from being on the internet because of the IoT devices that are around us. The IoT devices are all around us. We have got smart lights, we have got smart microwave ovens, we have got smart washing machines, we have got smart fridges, we have got smart fans. Hey, can you be a little quicker? Can you be a little faster? Can you slow down a bit? Smart ACs. So all these smart things that are around us, they are gathering information, sending it to some server, receiving the response, and then acting on that response. So irrespective of the fact whether your mobile data is on or off, if there is anybody in the room whose data is active, or if there is any IoT device around you, you are still on the internet. So a digital footprint refers to the total record of all the data, traces, and interactions a person leaves behind when using digital devices and online services. So practically 24/7. The funny part is there are intentional things. What we post on social media, product reviews, online forms, uploading video. This is what we are putting out there. We know what we are putting out there. The serious part is the unintentional part, what goes around. So IP addresses, you have never wanted that to be shared, but IP addresses and the device detail, what is the make and model of the device that you are using? If a funny part, if you remember a few months back or last year itself, this was there. The same person was trying to book from a very popular travel app. When he was using Android, he was getting different rates. When he was using an iPhone, he was getting different rates for the same day, same flight. Because the algorithm behind was that people who have got iPhone have got higher paying capacity. So the device details, the location data, the cookies, they are recording or browsing video, how long you have viewed a page or a video. So all the time, these are the unintentional digital footprints that we leave. And the funny part is there are certain aspects which we generally tend to overlook. And the first part is whatever has been put on the internet stays there forever, even when you have deleted it. It may have been on social media, it may have been on email, you have deleted it completely, removed it from the junk folder also, but it is residing there on some hard disk somewhere. It's like a jinn waiting for the lamp to be rubbed and to be used for some other purpose. And then whatever small bits and pieces of information are there, it could be aggregated to create profiles, and then those profiles could be used for commercial benefits and for making manipulation in behavior. How you behave online, it's not just which pages you have visited or what you have bought, how much time you have spent on that. If there is a particular video, if there is a particular person's profile you have stayed on, if you have zoomed in on particular thing and waited for certain time for whatever reasons best known to you, so that is the conversation, that is the impact of information that is being stored somewhere, and it may be analyzed and used for various purposes. Another question, a simple one. Now that we are almost on the same page, we have been together for almost half an hour. One question: are we together? Is the pace fine? Are you able to understand me? Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So let's go for the next question. And what if, what if an offer comes? Would you accept 500 rupees in exchange for letting a stranger read your text for a day? What are your options? Absolutely easy money, only if they can't see the photos, never, or depends how much data do they already have. So majority of you have told never. So would you say there is a bigger price? Maybe if I increase it to say 5,000 rupees, will it work? Or that amount is too small? $1 million, okay, that's fine. $1 million, that's fine. You can create a completely new identity after that. That's fine, absolutely fine. Okay, then also never. Okay, there are people who are still with the ideals. So now when we go ahead from here, irrespective of the fact whether you are getting paid anything or not, let us explore what they already know about you. Let us have a look at that, and we'll start with the one who knows everything. Should we start? Somebody who is omniscient, and I'm not talking about God. Huh? Whom am I talking about? Whenever we are in doubt, whenever we don't know anything about anything, we want to find about something, we go to that particular resource. We go to Google. So let's find out what Google knows about you. So it has got your personal information. What is your personal information? They've got your name, your email ID, your phone number, and your payment details. Whether you have got Google Pay or not, but when we have subscribed for Google some paid services, you would have already given your bank details or the credit card details. So they have got your personal information. From behavioral, what kind of searches have you done? The latest model of iPhone, trip to Goa, whatever. So your behavioral data, based on what kind of searches, what kind of YouTube videos you have watched, what kind of browsing history you have got, which all pages have you visited. So all these can give a very clear indication about your behavior. Your location data, where you are currently, where you have been in the past, how much time did you take to reach from point A to point B. From that, they can actually gauge whether you walked there or you went by bicycle or you went by a car, and which particular place did you stop for your lunch or breakfast or dinner, and which other people were around you. And on the basis of that, probably they can tell you where you would be in the near future. That's a possibility. Then preferences and interests. That's something. So which ads have you clicked? Which ads have you ignored? Which ads have made you think, but still you have prompted yourself not to click them? They've got those preferences and interests. And social connections, all the contacts that you have got over your phones or on the Google Calendar or your Gmail, they've got your social connections. So these are the things Google knows about you. So this is what Google knows about you and what it does with us with that particular data. First part, what you give it to it when you actually sign up. When you sign up for Gmail or when you buy an Android phone, you have to give in certain information. That is the direct input. Then there are tracking tools. There are cookies, there are Google Analytics, and there are Android OS tools which they use to extract information about you. And then there are all the apps that you have downloaded from the Google Play Store. All the apps that you have downloaded from the Google Play Store, they take metadata and data from them and they do their analysis. So they have got third-party integrations from which they get this information. And unfortunately, there is passive collection. The Wi-Fi networks you are connecting, the IP addresses that you are using, the kind of devices that you are using, the voice recordings that are happening on your phone, all that is passive collection of information. So Google gets all that information that I have told you in the previous slide from these kind of techniques. This is the tools they put to use to get information from you. And then what do they do with it? Very simple. Once they have got the information, all of you are familiar with that. Personalization. You search for a thing, I search for the same thing. Both of us are going to have different results because Google knows what kind of interest, what kind of preferences I have. So tailored search results. Advertising. You go to Amazon, look at a particular product for some time, don't buy it. Then you come to Google, search anything, the same ad will come. They'll keep prompting you. And what happens is that the prompt works at a subliminal level, the subconscious level. We'll talk a little more when we go to the next phase of this webinar. Product improvement. This is the part where they are improving themselves, supposedly to provide better services for you. So it may be Google Translate or Maps or for the Google Assistant. But in reality, there's nothing for free. They want to monetize each and every aspect of your information, and from the basis the kind of money they are making, you'll come to know that they're making huge amounts purely from the information or the data that you have given it to them. And the latest one, AI training. You would never ever believe the kind of information that is being used by Google. All your text, all your videos, all your photos, because big data analytics works on three major V's. One is the velocity, second is the volume, and third is the variety. All kinds of, it may be information in any format. Each and every information can be analyzed and then put together to get a meaningful output. Meaningful for whom? That is the question we need to look at. So these are the products that Google offers you. You got search, what you give, your intent, your curiosity, your needs. What Google gets is ad targeting and marketing trends. When you use Gmail, communications, and you got receipts. So you got targeting ads, even in business to business kind of communication. Maps, you got location based ads and data. YouTube, your mood, interest, and attention. Chrome, your browsing habits. So the kind of services Google provides you and what Google gets in return. So this is huge money, huge money. Any guesses what may be the number of searches per day on Google? Number of searches per day on Google? $50 million. Okay. Okay. 200 million. Billions. Okay. Arun Kumar says billions. Okay. So as of now, I'm talking about this is a little dated. So it's around 8.7 billion searches per day. 8.7 billion searches per day that is happening. And the kind of data they have got, the kind of data analytics they have done, 80% of the revenue that Google makes is out of advertising. So they make more than 300 billion per year, and almost 250 billion comes from our data. So we are the raw material and we are the market. That is what we are looking at. And it's not just Google. It's not just Google. Let me tell you, the big tech, look at all other big tech. You got Meta, you got Amazon, you got Apple, you got Microsoft. All of them are there in the same game. What they know, personal information, behavior, location, voice recording, kind of how they get it. So got direct inputs, tracking pixels, integration, third party recommendations, and how they use it. So it's all technology companies have got different ways to get information, and they know how to monetize it, how to make commercial sense out of it. So they use it for that. So when we ask you, who knows you better than yourself? You now know who knows you better, and it's not your spouse. Huh? It's not your spouse. These guys know you better than you yourself know. So that is the part we are looking at. Moving ahead, in the context, why do we give it away? Why do we give it away? So much of information is available for them, and they are making millions and billions out of it. Why do we give it away? There are certain reasons. We'll have a look at that. What goes on here? When we think in terms of sharing information, what goes on? What are the psychological basis of giving away the information? The first part is the optimism bias. What will happen to me? What kind of information do I have? Nothing is going to happen. It only happens to big people, important people. So that is the optimism bias. The illusion of control. Yeah, I've got a strong password. I'm using a VPN. I do not go wander into any unwanted sites. So I have got complete control. That's the illusion of control. It's not real control, because you would have by now known. It's not just you, it's the people around you also that also make you susceptible, that also make you vulnerable. And normalization of surveillance. So when I asked you what Google knows about you, so a lot of people told that Google knows everything about us. Google knows everything about us. So this is what we exactly mean by the normalization of surveillance. That is what we are looking at. And then we trust the technology companies. Although nowadays, in the recent past, the kind of incidents, the kind of litigations that have happened, that actually has led to certain level of distrust. But more or less, we think that if it is in the Google server, it will be safe. If it is in the Meta server, it will be safe. Although the biggest hacks have happened around that point. So that trust in technology comes. One more part, no immediate harm happens to us when we share information. Nothing immediate. It only happens over a period of time. It takes time for them to analyze it and then to actually monetize it. So it takes time. So there are no immediate consequences. And then the worst of all, everybody does it. Everybody shares location data on Instagram. Everybody says, oh, so I'll also do it. What's the harm in that? So the part where most of us falter is the complexity and the lack of understanding as to how this works, and that is the part of this particular webinar that I really want to focus upon. Towards the end, we'll discuss more on this as to how we can work around this. Although all the information is with them, but how do we save ourselves? We'll talk a little more on that part towards the end of this webinar. Then the risk reward ratio, the kind of services I get for free, they are far more than what my information is. The value of the information, you have not valued the information correctly. So that's, and anchoring to past experience. In the past also have been given and no harm has happened so far. So what would happen in the future? So that is the part. So these are what happens here. Why we tend to kind of share the data with the companies. But the companies also, basis this, they use certain tools and techniques, and this is how they get you. First is offering free services. The Android OS is free, the Gmail service is free, the YouTube is free. So the very simple thing, all of you would have heard about the adage, if the service is free, then you are the product. As simple as that. There are no more free lunches in the world. Absolutely. So that is what it is. Personalization and convenience. So you do not need to search for specific things. So that is the part. And the most important part, they try to suck you in by doing gamification, certain discounts, certain rewards that they offer, and limited time deals. Such and such person has bought such thing, so you may also like to do that. So that kind of social proof and peer pressure, and simplifying consent. And this is a very important point. I want to just spend a moment on this. When you go to a website, they say cookie policy. By default, it is on I agree, I accept. By default, that is the button which is very clearly shown. The one which is shown or hidden rather, or it is given in a lower color, is manage cookies. How many of us do actually go to the manage cookies part? Because what they want us to immediately say accept and go ahead. But once you go to manage cookies, you can go for only compulsory cookies. Rest every cookie can be disabled. So they try to simplify consent and then creating a sense of urgency. So this particular thing is available only till this time. This particular offer or this particular feature is available only till this time if you share this particular information of yours. So bundling data collection with essential features. So that is what they do. And on top of it, when we talk in terms of certain personal information, they manipulate you emotionally. If you share this kind of pattern, this kind of information, you'd be able to connect with your old buddies from your school or your alumni or from your old company, something like that. So emotional manipulation comes into. At times they ask you to do surveys on the basis of which they give you some rewards or some discounts. So maybe at times financial incentives. And overall, they have normalized the kind of data we share. It's kind of normalized. Everybody just agrees that there's no other way but to share our data. And the worst part is using dark patterns. What kind of dark patterns? And one of the glaring examples in which Google was sued, that Google has a mode called incognito mode, wherein it is supposed not to collect information about the browsing history of the user. But in incognito mode also, they were collecting all the data, but they are storing it elsewhere. And then later on litigation happened and Google was made to pay $500 million on the basis of that. So this is what companies do. They use misleading or confusing patterns on the web pages and apps so that you end up sharing information more than what you intend to do. Moving ahead, this is a very serious affair. Shoshana Zuboff, she is a Harvard professor and she published this book, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. What she says, the internet is a giant network of surveillance. Every click, every like, every share is being watched, recorded, and analyzed. Whatever you do or you don't do is being recorded and analyzed on the internet. So this is the day and age that we are looking at. Just a few more moments on what do we exactly mean by surveillance capitalism. So What is it? An economic system where personal data is collected, analyzed, and sold as a commodity to predict and influence human behavior, and often without the knowledge and consent of the individuals. So, what it relies on? The data as a commodity, the behavioral surplus. What is behavioral surplus? It's a technical term used by companies that is supposed to, whatever information is required from you to offer that particular kind of service or that kind of product or that kind of feature, much more information is being sought. That is access to read your messages, access to read your contact, access to read, look into your photo gallery. Why do apps need these kind of information? Access for your location. There are apps which have got nothing to do with location, but they will ask for all those kind of information, and that is what we call as behavioral surplus. And on the basis of information that is collected on that, prediction products are being designed. And towards the later part, not just prediction, they like to tailor your behavior. The behavioral modification kicks in. We'll talk more on that part in a moment from now. So you've heard of Google, you've heard of Meta, you've heard of Microsoft, you've heard of Amazon, so many companies, the big ones. But have you heard of these? Axiom, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You've heard of these names? What do they do? For most of us, these are credit rating agencies. Rating agencies. For most of us, they are credit rating agencies. But let me tell you, there is much more to their business than just rating. There is much more to their business than rating. And that is what we call as data brokerage. These are the biggest data brokers in the world. What they do? They do data collection. Data collection from where? Because of the kind of certain privileges they have got. They have got access to public records. They collect data from individuals also, and they collect data from commercial entities also. So they have got a really broad range of data. Unlike the tech companies, they have got access to multiple sources: public data, commercial data, and individual data. So many sources of data. They get the data. From that data, they do the aggregation part. They do the aggregation. What kind of demography, what kind of location, what kind of education do you have, what kind of earning profile do you have, all that they, so they create your profiles on the basis of that. And then they get into selling and licensing this information. So how is it different than the other guys? Maybe the Googles, the Metas, the Amazons. How is it different than them? The key part is we are not directly using their services. We don't even know that they are getting data from so many sources, and they are using this data, profiling us psychologically, behaviorally, and then selling this information to other companies. So the concerns are the lack of transparency. We don't know who's using our data, hardly any consent at all, hardly any consent at all. And there is a serious risk of misuse. And we absolutely have little or no control as to how these data brokers are going to use our data. And just to give you an understanding, $250 billion was made by the top 5 data brokers in the world. There are more than 4,000 data broking companies which do not directly deal with individuals, but they are purely in the business of data collection, aggregation, and profile enrichment, and later on shipping them as products to other companies. It's $1 trillion economy there, just from your data, and not the direct people, the Googles, the Metas, the Amazons. No, these are people who are working behind the curtains, behind the scenes. So now we are coming to certain very important element: your life, their algorithms. So what does an algorithm do? What does an algorithm do? I'm waiting for your answers. D, unbiased. A, B. Good, yeah. This is interesting. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So basically, if you look at an algorithm, it is a journey from point A to point B, elaborating the various steps involved and the various kind of hurdles or choices that it may encounter during the course. So that is what an algorithm is. It does all of it. Whatever it is written there, it does all of it. But when we are talking in terms of technology companies, it tells computers what to do step by step. So in terms of computer companies, tech companies, this is what it does. But for the simplification, it's a step by step of instructions. So start from this place. If see this, turn left. If see this, turn right. If see this, stop. If see this, return. As simple as that. So this is what an algorithm is. A set of instructions which a particular entity or a program or a person is supposed to carry out. Algorithms are there for humans also. We'll talk about that in a moment from that. So they can do so many different things. So what are the characteristics? There are clear steps, input and output. They are deterministic and they are finite. There is an endpoint to it, and they increase the efficiency because they clear the chaos part of it. So what kind of algorithms are there? Sorting algorithms, search algorithms, machine learning algorithms, graph algorithms, tons of different types of algorithms are there. So if I tell you, start the burner, put water to boil, put tea bag, pour in a cup. So this is an algorithm to prepare green tea. As simple as that. This is what an algorithm looks like. So this is a simple algorithm. It can run into millions and millions of instructions. So that is complex algorithms. So day in and day out, we are using algorithms. And algorithms are all around us, all around us. So we'll have a look at what certain very, very learned people have said about algorithms. Have a look at that. Cathy O'Neill, he says, Weapons of Math Destruction, the author of, he says, algorithms are opinions embedded in code. Algorithms are shaping our perception of reality by filtering what we see, read, and even feel. So he's the author of The Filter Bubble. And Jen Lanier, he says, we are being programmed by the very programs we have created. So when we talk in terms of life, because the topic of today's webinar was your life, their algorithms. So there are so many different ways in which life could be defined or explained. Albert Camus, he said that life is a sum of our choices. That is what it is. Whatever choices we have made during the course of our lives, that is what decides what we are going to encounter in the future. So life is a sum of our choices. And what Fyodor Dostoevsky, he said, is the best way to keep a man from escaping a prison is to not let him know that he is in a prison. So a lot of us do not even know as to what algorithms are doing with us, or rather are they doing with our minds. What kind of design these tech companies are putting into our minds. These are the tools they are put to design our minds. Recommendation algorithms. All of you would have heard about it. All of you would have heard about it. Like, based on your previous search history or based on your previous purchases, you may like to buy this. Isn't it? All of us have experienced that. Free ranking algorithms. So this product has been rated this much by these many number of users. So these kind of algorithms. Ad targeting algorithms. Very, very simple. So they take your other information, where you are going. So for example, you have booked an air ticket. Say maybe from Mumbai to Goa. So Google knows that you are going from Mumbai to Goa. For which purpose also they know, because they know the location. So if it is a hotel where it's no convention is going to happen, then the holiday kind of ads will start popping up. So they are the targeting algorithm. Sentiment analysis algorithm. If you are posting a certain text on social media, or even if you are putting an email, the syntax, the grammar, the choice of words that you use, that can be analyzed to find out what kind of mood you are in. So the sentiment analysis algorithms, they kick in. When you put your images and your videos, there are software which can analyze that and find out where you are, what you are doing, and how happy or how sad, what mood you are in. So these are the image and video recognition algorithms. And most importantly, engagement prediction algorithms. As to if you have bought a particular thing earlier, whether you are going to buy it again or not, if you have thought about it or compared it with n number of other products, that means you may like to buy that. So that particular kind of engagement prediction the algorithm will make. So these are the tools that companies use, tech companies use, to design your thought process. Again, they are trying, first of all, they gather the information about you, then they took your attention. They wanted your attention and focus. They started with information, then they went for your attention, and next is they are going for your decision making process. So that is where you are being impacted. Different spheres of our lives. Let us start with the personal part. Shaping perception and identity. How do we view ourselves? In this today's current day and age, we are how happy we look on the social media. That is what most of the people, they rate themselves as to how am I looking on my WhatsApp status, how am I looking on my Facebook or Instagram, how many likes am I getting, am I looking happier than the other person. So there is a constant comparison going on between people. So that is the shaping perception and identity of yourself. You are getting a gauge about yourself from your online persona. That is what it is doing. Influencing communication. One part all of you would have already seen, auto prompt. You type the first two alphabets, and after that, Google or whatever text supporter you are using, they'll prompt something. You use stickers, you use emojis. Stickers and emojis may mean different things to different people. So it is influencing the communication, the kind of communication. Also, when a call was important, still you have got the tendency to text, especially the younger people, because text has got serious limitations. Once you are calling, the tone of your voice, the pitch, that also communicates a lot. But the current technology age, a lot of people are driven towards using of text. So that takes away almost half or more than half of the importance of communication. Then romantic relationships. There are n number of dating and meeting apps. So they may suggest you what kind of products you could buy for them, where you could visit with them, what kind of movies you could watch with them, and some of them may suggest what kind of moves would be good. So they are taking the naturality from relationships apart, and they are putting in their own ideas just as a suggestion to you. They are shaping social circles. Person you may know around you, your neighbor visits this particular club. So they are trying to shape social circles. And most importantly, FOMO, the fear of missing out. X is doing this, Y is doing that, and I am sitting here listening to this boring lecture from this boring person. So these are emotional and psychological effects. Constant comparison with others. That is what we are having. And at times, when people are completely soaked into social media, completely immersed into social media, they find that they really do not have any personal connection with anybody. You may have 500 Facebook friends, but you may not have a person to who could offer you a shoulder to cry upon. So those are the emotional and psychological effects. And obviously, the privacy and autonomy we have seen in the previous slides, they've gone for a toss, almost gone for a toss. Next is where they are actually generating revenue. So you got personalized recommendations, what you have bought in the past, what you might like to buy in the future. And here, one very funny incident happened, and in which Amazon was taken to court. And of course, Amazon did not lose the litigation. And it's a very interesting incident. Amazon suggested to a particular user, he was a father of a teenage girl in US. Uh, so the father was suggested that you may like to buy this kind of baby products. So baby products, he was surprised as to why Amazon is suggesting those kind of products. So then he try to find out as to what is going on. So from different information sources, it was told to him that his daughter had got pregnant, which he was completely unaware of, and the baby was on the way. So the personalized recommendation had come to him because he was the one who was having an account and payment capabilities, not the daughter. So this kind of personalized recommendation, even without the knowledge of the user, that may happen. Dynamic pricing, one of the most trickiest method to lure you into buying. This price is available only for the next 15 minutes. After that, it will be available at a higher cost. That could be the case. Shaping trends and desires. There are influencers, there are websites, and then there are pop-ups coming on your screen. Whichever site you go, they keep on popping up on your screen. They are using your subconscious to trick you into buying things which you would otherwise not buy. One small homework for all of you: after this particular webinar, once you reach home today, just take out last 1 year's online shopping history, whatever platforms you're using, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, Nykaa, whatever. Just take the 1 year shopping history and just try to assess as to how many items are there which you have bought and not used more than 2 times in the last 1 year. You'll find out the kind of consumerism and the kind of materialism that these companies have promoted by influencing you using their algorithms. And more importantly, infinite browsing. You keep on browsing, it never ends. Earlier, if you remember, around 2010, 2012, it will end scrolling. But nowadays, it is endless scrolling you can spend. And funny part is, you think, okay, I'm very tired in the office, I'll look at reels for 5 minutes. Tell me how many of you are actually able to stop at 5 minutes? Hardly any. Whatever you buy or don't buy, everything is being used for the algorithmic consumer profiling. And how they works? Very, very simple. There are psychological principles. One is the confirmation bias. Access bought this, you have also bought this. Or if I have bought this earlier and it has not worked well for me, but the moment I see previously bought, it gives me a confidence. Okay, I have bought it earlier. It might have been okay. So I'll buy it once more. Dopamine loops. If a video I have liked for something, similar videos will keep on popping up and they'll give this small dopamine dose to my mind. It'll keep me happy. The society is using this. I will also do this. Fear and outrage. And nowadays, for the last 2 days, all of you would have been definitely be bombarded with this kind of thing. Operation Sindoor is going on. So many social media things coming to you, and some of them actually create outrage in you. You really do not know that actually these are not words from your own friends or colleagues or people who know. They are being generated by people and then being planted in social media so that they get the eyeballs, they get the attention. And more importantly, when they have psychologically profiled you, they do hyper targeting, micro targeting, specific just to you, directly to your motivations. That's what they put to use. Moving ahead, professional lives, I won't talk much on this particular aspect because it is plus also, it is minus also. Decision making, algorithms can help you faster, data-based choices, but it may not actually give room for gut feeling. There may be biases. There may be algorithmic biases because what is that? Algorithms are codes with opinions embedded in them. So they are not created by God, they're created by men. That is what the code said. So we are being driven by the programs that we have programmed. So there may be biases in the algorithm. So they give efficiency and insights, but they give chances of micromanagement and less of autonomy. Automation, a lot of us are scared as to what AI is going to do in the future for our jobs. Personalization, too much of reliance. And one of the key factors in terms of professional lives is the lack of cognitive abilities and original thought process. That's one of the biggest challenges. One of the biggest challenges. The moment I ask any of you, let me tell you, any of you, that tomorrow you have to make a presentation on the probable interest rate movement within the different products being offered by your bank or non-bank finance company. The first thing you will try to do is to whether there is a previously existing presentation, whether I can get something from Google, or best, I am working at this company. This is the size of the company. This is the customer profile. This is the economy, and this is the sector we are working in. Make a presentation of 20 slides for me. Just put it on ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepSeek, anywhere you put, and it will be immediately throwing you out a 20 slide presentation. So this is what it can do. But is it actually your own work? It is based on somebody else's, maybe thousands of people, but it is not original. The lack of original thought process, the lack of cognitive engagement by the employees is something which is actually being hampered in professional lives by the rise of algorithms. Moving ahead, serious topics, society and politics. Public discourse and communication. Public discourse, you hardly find people actually engaging in one-to-one communication. Most of the public discourse is happening online, and there are bots that are being placed by companies to actually incite people to make comments. And bonds which have formed over a period of time, maybe through friendship in college or a school or in as colleagues, they are being disturbed by online discourses. This is something what we have come to now, and it is impacting mental health and well-being very, very seriously. Actually, there is a serious addiction nowadays. People are there on social media, but they are hardly social anymore. If you, all of you would be visiting airports or railway stations, if there are 5 people waiting, hardly anybody would actually take the effort to start a conversation with the other person. Everybody would just pick up their phone and be busy with themselves. So that is what is happening across the whole society. And then the widening of the gap between the rich and the poor, that is increasing over a period of time. And what the society is doing, which person is doing what, the privacy has really taken a toll, and almost everything is under surveillance. Out of 176 countries studied by Pew Research, 130 countries were found with serious surveillance, both by government and by corporates. So this is what we are looking at right now in terms of society. And what is happening, that at times internet is being used by companies and at times by government to actually decide things for people and making it appear as if it is a democratic decision. That is happening. Politics, almost each and every political party have got their own media cell. So they have got micro targeting and social media based teams who are actually reaching out to people. They know by the profiling that which issue this particular sector is having, and they are going to target with that particular kind of messages. So filter bubble, there are two concepts almost similar. One is filter bubble, the other one is echo chamber. What do they mean? Very simply, you are being operated in what you like and what you dislike. You are being shown what you like, and you are not being shown what you dislike. You are not being shown the whole truth at all. And in today's day and age, you have got misinformation and disinformation. I'm sure quite a few would have heard the interview from the our neighbor's minister. Our neighbor's minister, he told that 5 of the jets were thrown down by Pakistan army and all. But this kind of disinformation and misinformation is very, very rampant. Fake news is across the world, and the funny part is fake news travels 5 times faster than real news. And voter behavior manipulation influencing political campaign strategy. You'd be surprised to know that in the US elections, it is the algorithms who decide which color suit the candidates is supposed to wear, what will be the color of the tie, how much shine would be there in the shoes, whether the shoes will be laced shoes or whether they'll be the pump shoes or loafers. Everything is being decided by algorithms based on the demographic profiling of the voters. So this is the world that we have come to. Moving ahead, what do we do now? This is the key part. Now we know that a lot of information, whether we want it or not, has already been shared, and we are going to share it over a period of time. It is not completely in our control because there are intentional digital footprints and there are unintentional digital footprints for which we can do very, very little. So what do we do now? This is the part where I ask you to connect and collaborate. We are about to come to the conclusion of this webinar. This is where I ask you that we can collaborate for awareness sessions, we can collaborate for capacity building sessions, we can have specific customized programs for officials in your institution. So you may either come down to CAB, or we may come down to your institution wherever you are in the country or abroad. We will be more than happy to create programs on awareness on various topics, not just this particular information technology or emotional intelligence. We can have n number of topics we can cover, and I'll be more than happy to explore the possibilities with you. The email IDs are there on the screen with you. You can write to CAB Academic or myself, Anand Upadhyay, aopadhyay@rbi.org.in. The only social media platform that I am available is LinkedIn. You can connect me over there also. We'll be more than happy to collaborate with you for different programs. But to the point at hand, what solution do we have? So can you tell me, because now it's the time we need to reflect, what are the three things that tech companies or the corporates are looking at when they want to take control? There are three things they want from us. There are three parts. I've told you twice in this presentation. I would like to hear from you. Three important elements, where they start and where they want to end. Monetization, okay. Rajagopal sir says, yes. Permissions, okay. Behavior, attention, excellent, Shyam Sundar sir, okay. The first thing they want from us is information. Information about whatever they want. Personal information, behavioral information, whatever type of information we can generate, they would like to have. So that is the first part, is information. The next part is our attention. They want our attention. They are looking for that, and they are, because that is their economy, the attention and focus economy. So information and attention. So if you look at the gradual progression of whatever apps we are talking about, it may be WhatsApp, it may be Facebook, it may be Instagram, it may be Google as a company and the products it has delivered over a period of time. Just look at the progression. They started with collecting of information, started with free services and collecting of information. Then they started competing with each other for attention. How much screen time this user is giving to us? It may be YouTube, it may be Netflix, it may be Amazon, whatever. How much time this user is giving to us? So information, then attention, and the last part, they want to control the decisions or the choices you are making. So the last part is the decision making process. So these are the three things that they are looking at: information, attention, and decision. And these are the things we need to keep with ourselves. Let us start with information. How we are going to go about it is very simple. I've given you just one example. This is Google. So when I told you what Google knows about you, so you go to Google's dashboard. You go to myaccount.google.com and activity control and web and app activity, Chrome history, Google Assistant command and search queries, your YouTube history. You can clean them out directly, or you can actually configure a particular periodicity in which all that data can be cleaned out, wiped out. So auto delete your activity at a prescribed periodicity. Then ad settings. Ad settings, you turn off ad personalization. The moment you turn off ad personalization, what is going to happen? It's not that ads won't come, but the creepy ones don't come. Because me and my colleague, we are talking about, I am planning to buy a new phone, or I think I should go to a higher version of Android. We are just talking, and the moment I open my browser and go to the first page, immediately ads for the mobile phone start coming. So a speaker has captured, it has been analyzed, and immediately I am being prompted something. So that ad personalization, the moment you turn it off, you will get ads, but they would not be so creepy that you are facing right now. And then, very importantly, because the Google Maps, where you have been, where you are currently, where you stayed, for how much duration, everything is being recorded. If you went from Mumbai to Goa by train or by air, they would know by the timings, by your location. So you can clean out the Google location also and disable location whenever it's not warranted. So those are the parts. Cookies, always remove the cookies. Every periodicity, every 15 days is important. Some people do it on a daily basis. And then very importantly, very importantly, the apps that you have got. I've given you one homework already. The other homework is, go and look at the apps and what kind of permissions you have given to those apps. Are those permissions actually required by those apps to do their functions? If not required, you can disable or switch off those permissions so that their further data or information sharing is not going to happen. So this is limiting the information sharing. But the more important part, information is just the smaller part of it. The more important part, which is more in our control, we are the most dominant species on the planet, not because we are the fastest or we are the strongest. We are the most dominant species because we have got the best cognitive capabilities. So let us put our mind to the right use. That is most important, and this is where we need to make the choices ours. The algorithms should not be making choices for us. And I'm going to be really slow on this slide, and I'm going to take enough time on this slide because this is the takeaway from this session, is that you need to understand that you are not the machine. Sidney Harris, he said, is that the danger with artificial intelligence is not that computers will start thinking like humans. The real danger is humans will start thinking like computers. So this is what we have to prevent. This is the part which we need to be really worried about. So first part, limit your exposure to personalized content. The kind of people you follow, the kind of channels you subscribe to, just have a review. Unfollow, mute, limit social media use, and pause, autoplay, disable in all platforms as far as possible for you. So that is something you need to do. Next is cultivate critical thinking. If a recommendation pops up, the first thing you need to think is to why this recommendation has popped. Not just go with the flow. No. If a similar kind of things are being shown to you across different browsers or different apps, think, am I in an echo chamber? What information have they used of mine? And with this self-reflection, the most important part is do random things which is going to confuse the algorithms. Make choices which are generally not your choices, your behavioral preferences, because you don't want them to have a sense of your predictive behavior. So that is what we are trying to do. And then there is unfiltered information available. There are blogs written by individuals, there are newsletters, there are podcasts which you can actually have a look and listen to have some really cognitive enhancing inputs, something really valuable rather than something being prompted by an algorithm. Most importantly, practice mindful consumption of technology. In-person connections are going to be the ones which are actually going to help you in the course of your lives. They are very important for both your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. So that has to be there. You have to increase your offline connections, make them better. And what better place than to start with your families. When you are sitting for dinner, just take away the mobile phones, remove the mobile phones. Let the family discuss, let the family talk, rather than being online and paying no attention to how the food is or what the other person is doing. Remove the phones as far as possible. And the last part here, or the penultimate one, slow down, journal. Take a journal, and I would strongly recommend a pen and paper journal in which you write down, quantify your usage of technology. How much IT have I used? All of you have got the digital well-being controls on your mobile phones. Towards the end of the day, look at every day, do it on a regular basis. Look at the quantum of time you have spent on the apps. What kind of apps you have spent time on? Did they actually warrant that kind of time? If they did not, next day make an improvement. Set goals for yourself. So that is going to be very important. And the future, if we really want to remain human and not become mechanical by being ruled by algorithms, you cannot, for the sake of convenience, sacrifice your cognitive abilities, your civility, your conscience. You cannot sacrifice these things just for the sake of convenience. So the way forward is digital minimalism. It is gaining ground, but the tech companies are somehow trying to rise over this. But for us to be really aware as to how much technology is really required. Okay, I'm using a core banking solution, I'm using official email, that is there for my bread and butter. That's fine, that is required. But what beyond that? And how much time do I really need to spend on the screen? So, intentional use of technology. So, the first and foremost part here is being cognizant as to how you are using your time on usage of technology. Eliminate digital clutter. Look at the number of applications which you have not used in the last 1 month. You can simply uninstall them, all of them, because all of them, the moment you need them, you can install them again. Why do you want to have all those apps? Because you are not using them, but they are still using you. Remember that part. So declutter all digital clutter, remove from them. And very importantly, whatever the number of friends you are having, connections you are having, focus on quality and real content, original content, rather than over quantity. There is so much AI related content being put over media, social media, print media, everywhere. Remember, you have to go for the quality. And very importantly, for your own sake, try to write using pen and paper at least 10 sentences coherently on any random topic that comes to your mind. My suggestion to you, pick up a book, pick up a newspaper. Every day do this exercise. It is very important for us to keep our cognitive faculties intact. Just close your eyes, take a pen and put it somewhere on the newspaper or the book. The word that you have, write about that particular word or that particular phrase. Write 10 sentences without using Google, without using ChatGPT. This is what is going to save your cognitive faculties and keep your originality intact. All of you would now would have been very confidently been able to decipher what is real content, original content, and what is AI generated content. A lot of people are writing research papers and so many things using AI, but the real fact of the matter still remains that we as humans are superior because of our cognitive capabilities. So we need to connect on a real life basis, person to person basis. Shake hands, hug, spend time with friends, spend time with families. That is how our lives are going to be enriched. Information, whatever has gone, but attention and decision are still with us. And the future information, of course, you can do certain amount of damage control, but attention and decision making is still in our hands, and we can still beat the algorithms. That's all from my side. Thank you. Thank you very much. And who want to have, those of you who want to have a full text of this particular presentation, and I have prepared the information saving checklist for all platforms, Microsoft, Meta, everything. I'll share with you. All you need to do is to put your email on the chat box, and I'll send it across to all who have put your email on the chat box. I request all of you to please give your feedback for this particular session. The QR code is on the screen. And what I really look forward to in the feedback, you can actually tell us what kind of programs or what kind of webinars you'd like to have in the future from us. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Look forward to meeting you in person sometime soon at CAB at your companies. Thank you. Thank you very much.